Welcome back, Truth Seeker. It is Tuesday, November 7th, 2023, and in recent days we got the news that the stuntman for the Black Panther film died tragically on Halloween in a car crash with three of his children. And of course, he was the stuntman for Chadwick Boseman, who died prematurely the other year on Jackie Robinson Day, which was August 28th, 2020. It was on a different day that year because of the COVID season, but the MLB moved Jackie Robinson Day to August 28th, which was also Jack Kirby's birthday, who wrote the Black Panther series. And then, of course, Jackie Robinson was also in World War II, and he was part of a tank brigade known as the Black Panthers. So how weird that Chadwick Boseman would die on the makeshift Jackie Robinson Day and also Jack Kirby's birthday. And as we documented the day it happened, all of the online sites that had Chadwick Boseman's birthday, they shifted his birthday by 1 year. He died at age 42, like the movie Jackie's about 42, but then all the headlines shifted to he died at age 43, and then IMDb, Google, Wikipedia, you name it, they all shifted his birthday by 1 year. We were covering it in real time that day, and I remember that day like it was yesterday, actually, because I was like on my longest stint in all of my adult life from not using any cannabis products, and somebody had sent to my P.O. box some nice edibles, and I got super stoned, and then I felt bad that Chadwick Boseman died, but we were streaming about it all night, and just, it was actually a good stream, but it's sad the way time flies by and how we keep covering stuff like this and how it doesn't stop. And anyway, we're going to get to the death of this man and his three children on Halloween and how you can clearly see that it's coordinated with Chadwick Boseman's death. And we're also going to talk about the other recent Hollywood death, child actor Evan Ellingson, who was the TV child of Cameron Diaz. And we'll get to how his death is so coordinated with her birthday. But yeah, before we get into all this, again, I've been working on several short books, and I realize my deadline's coming up here for getting the Kobe Bryant book done because, again, we want to gather next year at the time of the unveiling of the Kobe statue and try to wake LA up to what is going on in this world and what really happened with Kobe Bryant, or at least ask some questions that seriously need to be asked because they haven't been asked seriously enough yet. And I've been working on this Kobe book, and I keep looking at it, I keep wondering if I'm overcomplicating things. I feel like maybe the way I need to do all writing is just like if I was writing it for somebody who was like 10, 11, 12 years old. Just really easy to understand, really straightforward, almost basic, but very effective. So anyhow, I am writing it in more of a children's book format, but I think everyone's going to like it, and it's going to need some pictures. So before we get into this, I just want to announce contest. By November 30th, this month, the drawing needs to be turned in, the illustration, and I'm going to go through what the chapters for the book are. And I don't want to put a picture in for every single chapter. I might if there's enough good illustrations, but at least 5 really good illustrations in the book. And I have an idea for some, but if my idea sparks your idea and you think you can improve upon it, that's more than welcome. But for all illustrators, little contest. What I'm thinking is, your illustration in the book, and then if you want to sign it in whatever way you want, maybe you just want your name, your artist name, your Instagram page, whatever you want to do, just it'll be publicity for you in the book. And then also, of course, a cash prize as well. And I'll figure out the way the cash prizes are, but at least 5 winners. Help 5 people out, little extra spending money for the holiday season. This time, what it's really turned into in America is the holiday season is the time where you need extra money for your energy bills. Anyway, especially if you live in the colder states. Maybe not so much if you're down south. Might be the time of year you actually save money if you're in Miami. Less AC. But yeah, here let me go over the chapters, and I'm not going to change the visual on the screen, but in the beginning, just like a concept of how, like, you know how when people learn something, it can scare them and turn them off, and then they don't want to look anymore because it's scary? Like finding out that maybe there's more to Kobe dying at age 41 on the Pope's 41st day of his age while traveling from Catholic Mass. Somebody might not want to hear that at all because they're Catholic and they love the Pope and they don't want to think anything weird like that's going on, so they just shut down. So if it's true, everyone should know it. But the truth can be scary, as we know. And the thing is, once you get over that little scare, the truth can also be like a light, and then it helps you see the darkness that's going on in the world so you don't become a part of it, emotionally attached. And I was thinking about that, about why people are so attached to certain things. And it's because there's this emotional bond that develops from a really young age. People love sports because they have an emotional attachment with it. Politics, emotion. It's like the cabal gets people to invest their emotions in things, and then once their emotions are in it, they just shut off the logical part of their brain. And anyway, I was thinking, since this book's about Kobe and just light and darkness, and this little blurb about how, you know, the truth can be scary, but it can also be the light which fights off the darkness. Maybe a dark street that's lit with some lamps. Maybe under one of those lamps is a basketball hoop, like up against the curb, like you might have in somebody's neighborhood. And the ball's like bouncing or rolling away from the light into the darkness, the unlit part of the street. Maybe there's a child following the ball. And if you look carefully in the dark part of the street, there's actually like a figure of somebody there. Maybe they don't look like the nicest person in the world. Maybe somehow it embodies evil. I think that could be a good place to start this book on Kobe, because it's like that's what the cabal does. It lures people into bad habits, but trickily. It's like they don't see how they're being led from the light into darkness. And again, I mean, it's like Kobe, before he died, he did that film that ends with the exploding helicopter, the short film, The Black Mamba. It's got Kanye West, Bruce Willis, some other Hollywood names that are escaping my mind right now. One of the guy's name's like Danny Trejo, something like that. But Robert Rodriguez film. But Kobe, you got to watch the short film and just hear Kobe's last line in light of his death and the exploding helicopter and how he supposedly died in a helicopter, just like how Comedy Central foreshadowed his death in a helicopter. It's like people are worshiping this man Kobe, and he might, and even though people love him for his basketball skills and his winning and his championships and being part of the Lakers dynasty and the celebrity and all that, it's like these things are nice. These are the redeeming qualities. But was this man really about the right things? Could he possibly be playing one of the like sickest jokes on a fan base in the history of sick jokes? Did he know what was coming? Again, people need to start questioning these things because there's more than enough reasons to question. So really, the book, rather than tell the child what to think and believe, get them to question, right? Get them to look at things and question the same types of things we're questioning, but also do it in a way that's a lot more intriguing than scary. So anyway, first illustration in the book, just the little thing about how the truth can be scary, but how it can shed light and possibly keep people. Because again, I mean, if we can teach a generation to not emotionally invest in these celebrities that are handpicked for us in these sports leagues and get people to see what's really going on with these things, I think that's a net plus for humanity. You know, these... Anyhow. Go over the contents of the book, and if you guys can think of the illustrations. So, opening idea. Again, dark road, lit with some lamps, basketball hoop, ball rolling away, child following the ball into the darkness. We're trying to prevent that from happening. And think about it, if the child is following the ball, he doesn't even see how he's being led into the darkness. He's just following the ball, just thinking he's going along with what he needs to do. That's the point I'm going to try to make in the book is Again, you might not realize that you were even doing anything wrong, but really by supporting these things, you actually became a part of this evil. And I do feel that's that way once you realize it. You know, like if you're still going to NBA games and spending money and tickets and helping fuel this league that does this, you're part of the evil. If you're doing it unknowingly because you have no idea about this, to me that's like a dismissal of actual wrongdoing. You are operating in ignorance, but if you do know and then you still do it, now you're willingly being part of the problem. So anyway, that'll be the purpose of these short books in my mind. Try to get a generation to see what was going on in the world, how to see through it, and why they should not become emotionally invested in these things. Anyhow, Chapter 1, what is gematria? Just a short introduction and explain why we're learning this and how it's going to apply to the rest of the book. Then the next chapter, why does it matter Kobe Bryant died at age 41? Teach about his career, how it was defined by the number 41. I think this chapter definitely needs this picture. I think this is the picture that sets up this chapter. Kobe Bryant walking off the court for his last game against the Utah Jazz, the game where he scored 60 and the rest of his team scored 41, like how in his career high he scored 81 and the rest of his team scored 41. LA equals 41 like Kobe Bryant. But if you don't know this, in his last game he came off the court and they froze the clock, the game clock, in the fourth quarter and the final seconds at 4.1 seconds as Kobe comes off the court years before he dies at age 41, a span of 41 days from Shaq's birthday with all these other 41s in a huge number with Kobe. And so again, Kobe coming off the court, and you can see in the background, the clock's at 4.1 seconds. And then you hit all the 41s in the chapter. So next chapter, why does it matter that the Lakers won the NBA Finals after his death? And realize I'm not changing anything on the screen, so you just got to use your listening skills. Everything's 41, just like how this actor on the screen's dead at 41 on Halloween. In the same cipher where Kobe Bryant equals 41, so does Halloween. Halloween 41, Kobe Bryant 41. You die at age 41. It means you died in your 42nd year of life. Again, this man connected to Chadwick Boseman, who really did die at age 42. I know that everything changed it to 43, but we were there documenting in real time in this 1984 world how everything was just shifting online for Chadwick Boseman to now make his age of death 43, because 42 obviously would have been too obvious on the makeshift Jackie Robinson day when he was in the movie 42. But I guess I'll keep this up while I talk more about Kobe and 41 for a second. Okay, so after the chapter on why does it matter why Kobe died at age 41. Next chapter, why does it matter the Lakers won the NBA Finals after his death? So in that chapter, you talk about how the Lakers won the finals on Father-Daughter Day. And remember, the only reason the finals were on that day is because they had to move it for the COVID season. Remember how COVID was right after Kobe Bryant's death, and he was buried in Corona Del Mar, and they declared the pandemic, and it was over the Utah Jazz game who he played his last career game against. Again, coronavirus, Corona Del Mar burial in an unmarked grave, they told us. How convenient. But again, why does it matter the Lakers won the NBA Finals after his death? So you can get to the Father-Daughter Day championship, which was exactly 41 weeks after LeBron's birthday. The King, who just passed Kobe in points scored in Philly, Kobe's hometown, the day before Kobe's death. So you talk about that in that chapter, and maybe an illustration of LeBron, King James. Could be Duncan with the crown on to really emphasize that point about the king. King equals 41 like LA, like Kobe Bryant. Like how he won it with the Cavs on the real King James's birthday. If enough children read this book, we can just go through all the sports lessons. We can literally write like an infinite amount of children's books on this subject. The NBA, LeBron, Kobe. The next one could be LeBron and all his rituals and tribute to the king. But anyway, to go through this, the next chapter. Why does it matter Kobe died 201 days after Magic Johnson's? Why does it matter Kobe Bryant died 201 days from Magic Johnson's 2020 birthday? Remember, the Lakers won the finals in Orlando on Father-Daughter Day. The home team is the Magic. Of course, Magic is like Johnson, the star of the Lakers, who made the NBA, really, him and the Bird rivalry. And of course, there's a lot of 201s with Kobe's death. And I know that I've been writing different versions of this Kobe book, and I think I'm trying to put too much in it. I need to save it for the other book. But there are so many parallels with HIV and COVID, and Carrie Mullis called this out, and Anthony Fauci was the face of HIV when it was new to the country, just like COVID. And again, just Magic Johnson with the whole HIV thing. I think I'm going to skip that route, but hit some of the other 201s. But the other thing about the Orlando Magic is just the whole Shaquille O'Neal piece. Shaquille came into the league through the Magic, and again, when Kobe died at 41, it was a span of 41 days from Shaq's birthday. And Shaq went to LSU that wear the purple and gold, and it was a trip because if you guys remember, I'd scheduled myself to be down in Louisiana at the LSU campus and also New Orleans, educating about all the rituals they did with Joe Burrow when he won that championship and all the people that died in New Orleans connected to it. Kobe died right like days before I traveled down there because we were down there at the end of January, and then when I got down there, that's all everybody wanted to talk about was Kobe's death. But it blew me away that when I got to the LSU campus, there was this huge billboard up with a RIP Kobe. And then I just thought about it right then. It just really clicked. I was like, oh, yeah, this is Shaq School, LSU, purple and gold like the Lakers. But it was just a trip. I was like, man, they got that up fast. This big billboard in tribute to Kobe. Man, not wasting any time at LSU. But and then the Lakers playing the Magic this year, one day after Magic Johnson declared a billionaire, and his dad just died in the 201 ritual recently. But yeah, anyhow, Orlando. LeBron won his fourth finals. When Kobe won his fourth finals, he won it over the Orlando Magic as well. So again, in this chapter, introduce 201, what that number is about, where it goes back to the Pope, because again, Catholic Pope has that Gematria 201. So does Catholic Mass, and he died while traveling from Catholic Mass on the Pope's 41st day of his age 41. And his production company, Kobe has a film company called Granity Studios, which even equals 201. And remember, from his last birthday to the day they declared the pandemic was 201 days, and they declared it on 3/11. 201 is 3/11 in base 8 counting, or 3/11 is 201 in base 8 counting. And event 201 was the pandemic simulation. That was on the day leaving 74 days left in the year. Kobe died during the 74th NBA season. Anyway, in each chapter, I'm only going to hit one number because it's for, just to keep it on one number. So I won't do all that, but just as I write the book, I just realized it's got to be simpler, one number at a time. It's just like when you're talking to somebody. You can tell that people really follow when you just keep it on one number. And then if you really cement that point, that's when I realize I can go to a second number. People like when I really understand, I say, now look at this number and how they did it here, and then give them a bunch of examples. They're like, oh, interesting. I'm like, yeah, the numbers are a language. They form rituals around these. But anyway, next one. Why does it matter Kobe was buried in Corona Del Mar? So again, we're doing Magic 201. Now we can get into the 201 coronavirus pandemic simulation. And then Kobe's last birthday to the pandemic being declared, the same day the NBA lockdown, where Kobe Bryant equals 113 like coronavirus pandemic, like the National Basketball Association, like Utah Jazz. Eventually we'll get to the Moses Malone parallel. But so anyway, in that chapter, I'm debating on doing the numbers 56 and 113. It might be the only section. And as I say chapters, it might just be, I'm trying to keep the book no longer than 26 pages for children. And you can understand why 26. That'll be a number emphasized in the book. But anyway, next chapter. And understand, as I'm saying out these chapters, for all of you who are illustrators, if any of these things make you think of a really good illustration that could really capture an idea, please. But after the Corona, why he's buried in Corona Del Mar, next chapter, why does it matter Kobe died on the 26th day of the year? Remember, of course, Bryant equals 26. He died on the anniversary of Bear Bryant. Again, the Bryant from the Temptations even died on the 26th of the month, in a different month, but also the 26th. Bryant equals 26 in Gematria. Where Kobe Bryant's 41, like his age of death, Bryant's 26. And with the 26 piece, you can also remind that the word virus is 26, China's 26. A lot of important words that relate to the combined rituals are 26. But again, two Bryants, famous Bryants in sports, both dead on January 26th. Next chapter, why does it matter he was in a legal battle over his Black Mamba branding? Maybe that chapter actually goes before the last chapter. But again, just to paint the picture of how they really did bring all these things together through the mainstream storylines. Again, that was one of the things when Kobe died that the mainstream focused on, how he was in a legal battle with pharmaceutical companies over his Black Mamba branding. And if you look up what Black Mamba venom does to a human being, it stops their heart. So again, you can only say so much in the age of censorship, but I think a lot of people, if somebody's there going over this, reading this book with their child, and they're paying attention, they might be like, "Wow, okay, I think I get the really sick joke of that." And remember, LeBron's passed him the day before in Philly with the court with the black snakes on it. One chapter as I'm reading this list and just looking ahead, I realized I didn't even talk about like Kobe's career high at 81 in his 666th game. There might have to be some additional chapters. I might have to stick a couple more chapters on here. Again, from the first pandemic simulation, Claydex, to the pandemic being declared, 666 days. Claydex equals 113, like Kobe Bryant, like the National Basketball Association, like coronavirus pandemic, like Utah Jazz, like the 11th day of the third month when the NBA was locked down because Rudy Gobert supposedly had the cooties. And the World Health Organization declared the pandemic from Switzerland, the land of the bankers who got super rich off all the government borrowing. U.S. money's been super inflated. Depreciation of the dollar since the stimulus spending, they called it. Big sick joke, man. Next chapter, why does it matter he died on the 37th anniversary of Bear Bryant's passing? Again, explain how, because we're teaching the 4-base ciphers, just like how we teach it. Bryant equals 26 forwards, 37 in reverse. Dead on the 26th day of the year on the 37th anniversary of Bear Bryant. And again, 37 years earlier was 83 at the time, and that was the year Moses Malone said, "Fo, fo, fo." And again, Moses Malone, Daryl Dawkins, both dead before Kobe's last season, his retirement season. They were the first two players out of high school, like Kobe out of high school. Kobe was the fourth player out of high school in NBA history, going with the four. He died 4 years after Moses Malone and Daryl Dawkins. Again, LeBron passed him and put him in fourth in points scored. So yeah, maybe in that chapter also. I'm gonna have this all the way finished. I'm gonna decide that because otherwise I'll just never finish like I've been doing with my projects. I just keep trying to make things better and write and rewrite. I'm in such a bad habit of this for going on like 3 years now. It almost feels like a curse. I just can't. I decide that I overcomplicate that. Just November 30th is my deadline as well. So we're gonna have this Kobe Bryant, the illustrations picked out, the finalized words and selections for the chapter. But I am debating on talking about 157 in that chapter as well, because 157 is the 37th prime number. And remember, Kobe Bryant also equals 157 when you run the alphabetic order in reverse. And he died on his 157th day, being 41. And there's a ton of 157s in the Kobe's death. It connects with his father and LaSalle, where he went to high school. And as well as the complex that now runs the Lakers organization and a lot. So yeah, again, you're drawing the parallel with Kobe and Bear Bryant. Is that an illustration? Maybe it's just an illustration of Bear Bryant. Next chapter, and I figured this one should be in there because it's just such a redundant lesson that comes up so often. Why does it matter Kobe died 38 weeks after his wife's birthday? Again, the pattern of 38 in death, the blemish in Kobe's legacy, the affair in Colorado, the 38th state, and so on and so forth. So again, a lot of these chapters aren't long, but 38, if you're teaching somebody a gematria lesson and you're teaching them something that's kind of scary, but at the same time worth knowing, might save you from, becoming some famous celebrity that doesn't make it past their 30s one day. You just never know who could read this book and learn this information, or what family could take it in, you know? Next chapter. Why does it matter Kobe died in the 74th NBA season? Again, it goes with Moses Malone being drafted in 74. What's in Exodus 4? Exodus, the big 74 book in the Bible, goes with Jordan's father on the side of Interstate 74, and goes all the way back to 3 of the first 5 presidents dead on 7-4. So again, 74, instrumental number. I could even bring up, honestly, Kerry Mullis's death, but he's the guy who died right before Event 201, the coronavirus pandemic simulation, who invented the PCR test, who was the biggest critic of Anthony Fauci in the world. But maybe that's too much for the children's book. Maybe that goes in the other one I'm working on. So, and what's crazy is in the time I've been writing and rewriting, I've written so many things so many different ways, and sometimes left it out. It's just, I want the third book that comes out to be the one that is finally a success. We'll put it that way. Put a lot of time into writing books, and it is a lot of work, and it hurts in a way because you want it to have a bigger impact on the world than it had. It's like, man, I put so much into that. It's supposed to do so much more, but I realized just stay the course. We'll eventually have the impact we're trying to have. So anyway. Next chapter, what are the parallels to Kobe's death and Daryl Dawkins and Moses Malone's? Again, all these men with the Nike contracts, Exodus 4, Moses' staff turned to a snake like the Black Mamba. Again, Moses Malone did the ad for Nike in 82, the year Kobe turned 4, where he's holding the staff, and a lot more. Kobe's last game is scoring 60. There's a big relationship with Moses Malone, 60. Even Karl Malone in 60, who played for the Jazz, which is weird. And 4 and 60. And it's bigger than just basketball. It's bigger than basketball. It's just like how there's 4 faces of presidents at Mount Rushmore and they're 60 feet long. It's like the rumor of Donald Trump's 4th indictment in Georgia, the 4th state, came on his 60th day of his age, and then the days later it became the news. And that's right before the 60th U.S. presidential election as well. 4 years after losing the last one. And 60 been faithful in history too, because Lincoln was elected in 60, Kennedy was elected in 60, and we know what happened to them. They both got shot. Daryl Dawkins. If you forgot, Moses Malone died at age 60, 17 days after Daryl Dawkins. Daryl Dawkins in Gematria equals 60. Kobe scored 60 in his last game. All 3 men connected to Philadelphia through basketball. Philadelphia biblical like Exodus. And, Nike's ad from when Kobe was 4 years old. Moses Malone holding the big old staff like Moses in the Bible. Next chapter. Did Kobe know his premature passing on January 26, 2020 was coming? That's just where we look at the Comedy Central thing and why that Comedy Central thing came out on 16/11. The 16th day of the 11th month. That's what year the King James Bible came out in 1611. Remember, LeBron passed him in points scored, sinking him to 4th all-time in biblical Philly, the 4th book of the Bible's Numbers. And LeBron with his history of King James rituals. And then also the Black Mamba short film, where you got to see his last line. Watch it. The film's only 5 minutes long. Look it up. Kobe Bryant, Black Mamba, Nike short film, Robert Rodriguez. It'll pop up somewhere. And, listen to Kobe's very last line. The last thing he says. Like a sly guy. It's the part that makes you go, man, is he dead? If he's dead, I mean, that's... What if that's the other thing they did to people? What if they make it seem like you're good? I don't want to start speculating like that. It's just, we don't know all the answers unless we're actually part of the cabal. And I am not. And as far as I know, the average viewer here is not. But, yeah, people need to look into all the things we're presenting because it's so redundant, and it's sick because whether they're really dying or not, they're playing with the hearts and minds of fans. How many people cried the day they found out Kobe died at 41? I guarantee you it would blow your mind if you could see the actual number, and it would be big. And then the last chapter, don't sell your soul for any price. Maybe just in that chapter, I'll also drop the part about Kobe scoring his career high 81 in his 666th game, because, of course, Kobe being Bryant's 81, so was Mark of the Beast. And but yeah, that's the game. And the main point of that chapter, the main point that I was just planning for that chapter was the number 67. The word soul is 67, like blood sacrifice, like human sacrifice, like Calabasas. And remember, he died on 67 date numerology. 1 plus 26 plus 20 plus 20, 67. Pattern that we've talked about a million times before Kobe died, since Kobe died. Case in point, this Evan Ellingson, who's dead, child actor, they're saying he probably OD'd at age 35. Well, they also pointed out in the articles that he was the TV child of Cameron Diaz, famous actress. You know, what's the funny movie she's got with Ben Stiller? Something About Mary. I mean, that movie's funny. The movie's literally funny, but I remember that. I think the hardest I ever seen my dad laugh in my lifetime was him watching that movie. But he's dead 67 days after Cameron Diaz's birthday. You know, she lives on. He's dead, and she's the way bigger star. You know, I say Cameron Diaz. Most people know who that is. I say Evan Ellingson. Who? You know. So, but over and over the 67 thing. It's satanic, too. The word satanic is 67. Halloween associated with Satan. They just put out that movie, The Fall of the House of Usher, about a brother and a sister making a deal with the devil on... They make it on New Year's Eve in that film. But... again, the deal with the devil is that, you know, when the devil wants to pay, you know, when the devil wants to pay, he gets to claim the whole bloodline and them. And you just see something like this, you know. You know, Joe Biden. I mean, look at Joe Biden. Joe Biden sacrificed his wife and daughter back in 72 right after becoming senator-elect. And then when he was 72 years old, he sacrifices Beau Biden at age 46, getting a huge 201 ritual sync with the Pope before he becomes number 46 in a big 201 ritual. And then his other son, Hunter Biden, who lives on, I mean, he's just getting... who knows the truth about Hunter Biden? I don't let the media form my perception of anybody. But, I mean, they make him look like he's the worst guy ever, right? So his son is like... his son would be better off dead the way he is in the media. It's like all the other kids you look at, they're all dead, but it's like, man, I think they all live better lives than this guy. This guy's legacy is not looking good. I think he would have rather just died. But, yeah, we've seen this so often in show business, just the family, the sacrifice, the trade-offs, shows about it, movies about it, songs about it, books about it, poems about it. Bob Dylan on 60 Minutes about how you got to sell your soul if you want to make it in this world. And it's obvious. And, you know, with regards to Kobe, I'll bring up a part about his dad in the book. You know, he's born into it. If his dad already sold his soul, I mean, his dad could have made the deal like the character in the House of Usher. And again, if Kobe's really dead, you know, his dad's here to live and feel the pain of that. And probably knowing the whole time that, you know, this is because of what he agreed to a long time ago. David Bowie's got the song about it too. Rock and Roll Suicide, about making these choices in show business at too young of an age. Rock and Roll Suicide. Too young to choose it. You know, they didn't really think... I mean, look, this guy. I looked at this guy's IMDb to see all what his credits are. He has almost nothing. But he has the 2018 Black Panther film, and I'm sure he got paid a good deal. I would imagine. I'm not even gonna say that. I don't know how these people get paid. I would hope he got paid a good deal of money to only get to live 5 more years to essentially end up as filet mignon with his children for the psychopaths on Halloween. But yeah, how many years have we talked about Halloween and 41? You know. We talked about it so many times. Rituals of 41 and Halloween. I mean, not as the word 41. The date's 10/31. But he's dead at 41 on Halloween in a car crash. Mr. Ramsey's a stuntman, actor, and martial artist known for his work on the Black Panther and Avengers movies is being mourned after he and 3 of his children were killed as a result of a car crash in Georgia, the 4th state, last week. He was 41. And then you look up what day he died. He died on Halloween. Atlanta TV station WSB TV reported that the crash occurred just before midnight on Halloween. I mean, isn't that like what they'd show you in a scary movie? After the vehicle Ramses and his children were traveling in collided with a tractor trailer that had broken down in the left lane of an exit off the interstate. It's one of two things it's either real sorcery that's making this stuff happen because they've literally sold their soul and this is the way it works. It's like the Twilight Zone. Twilight Zone has episodes about stuff like that, by the way, and the Twilight Zone's another 201 if you didn't know that. But it's either that or it's that this isn't how these people are dying, but this is how it's being reported. Just these common... I mean, this happens to celebrities just so much, you know? They are so much more likely to die in just ways like this, at way too disproportionate of a way. And just so ritualistically over and over. I mean, on Halloween... The other thing about... remember, Huey P. Newton's 58 forwards, and in reverse, it's 41. He's the founder of the Black Panthers. And here, just to pull up all ciphers so you can see this. Huey P. Newton, 131. The day he died was the day leaving 131 days left in the year. The year that he died, 1989, was the year that Cam Newton, the greatest quarterback in the history of the Panthers, was born. Cam Newton was born on the 131st day of the year that Huey P. Newton died on the day leaving 131 days left in the year. Cam Newton became the 58th quarterback to start in a Super Bowl. He lost to Von Miller, number 58, who was the MVP, after his sack fumble where Cam Newton just stared at the ball on the ground and didn't even try to pick it up in the Super Bowl in the most important game of his life. And by the way, we called all these things in October of that season, why the Broncos would beat the Panthers and why Von Miller would be the MVP, all about 58 in the Black Panther history, because that Super Bowl was in the Bay Area where the Black Panthers were founded. But notice how Super Bowl's also 131 and 41 like Huey P. Newton. So I just want to make that point because they also, over the years, have been syncing up the Black Panthers in the NFL, the Carolina Panthers, with the Black Panther film franchise and also just rituals like these. And realize this man died right after the Panthers got their first win of the season. And the first win of the season was in week 8. Bryce Young beat C.J. Stroud, just like how there was an article written about how Bryce Young beat C.J. Stroud in 8th grade. So the Panthers had the numbers to win. And by the way, the Panthers got their 213th franchise win in that game, and C.J. Stroud and Bryce Young had played each other in Los Angeles in 8th grade, the 213 area code. Just like how the Rams recently won the Super Bowl on February 13th as the L.A. Rams. Again, L.A., the 213 area code. And again, Black Panthers also got that gematria of 213. And a part of me wonders if they had another script earlier this year, because the Panthers were playing in primetime this year. We did get burned once, just to be fair. We got burned once this year on a Black Panther ritual. I think it was the first time we'd ever failed on a Black Panther ritual. Earlier this year, the Panthers could have got their 213th win playing in primetime exactly 213 days after the birth anniversary of Huey P. Newton. So they skipped that one, and then they did this Bryce Young C.J. Stroud one instead. So, anyway. To bring it back to the death of this man on Halloween at age 41, just like Kobe died at 41. If you write out blood sacrifice, it has this gematria at 257. We just talked about the 67 a minute ago with Kobe dying on the 67 date numerology. It's also 257. And just for the record, Los Angeles Lakers also have this gematria. And King James also has the 55. And you might recall, right, when LeBron joined the Lakers, you had two former UCLA Bruins basketball. The greatest tournament winning team of all time, the Bruins in LA. It's like the Lakers up there. But two former Bruins just dead in 67 rituals right after LeBron signs with the Lakers. Kings also got that 67. Remember the death rituals last year on the King's 74th birthday, King Charles. But anyway, this stuntman, he died 257 days after the death anniversary. He died 257 days after the February 16th anniversary of the release of Black Panther, where he was the stuntman. 257 goes with blood sacrifice. Huey P. Newton, the Black Panther founder, his birthday is the next day, February 17th. From that day to his death, you could say, is a span of 257 days. It's 256 days later, or a span of 257 days. But both the Black Panther film and the Black Panther founder both have the 257 connection with the day this man dies. And he also died 38 months and 3 days after Chadwick Boseman. And first of all, Panthers is 38, just like how they lost in Super Bowl 38 to Tom Brady, and then they lost on the 38th day of the year to the Broncos in the Huey P. Newton Bowl, which was played again February 7th, the 38th day of the year, when Colorado's the 38th state. Last year, Russell Wilson signed with the Broncos on 3-8, March 8th, and then his team fell to 3-8 versus the Panthers last year. And when he was with the Seahawks and they beat the Broncos in the Super Bowl, it was the Seahawks' 38th season. Colorado's also 83 after Russell Wilson signed with the Broncos last year. The stadium caught on fire on the 83rd day of the year, which is Peyton Manning's birthday, just seeing through the weirdo rituals that these people do. But yeah, 38 months after Chadwick Boseman's death, and again, death is 38, and murder's 38, and killing's 38, and RIP's 38, and again, Kobe, he died 38 weeks after his wife's birthday, and he had the affair in Colorado, the 38th state, and just how these numbers come up all the time in these death rituals. 38 all the time. And don't forget, with the whole war thing going on right now, D.C., the nation's kill capital, where the military is, the Pentagon, which equals 38. Again, they're not playing with that 38. But yeah, 38 months and 3 days after Chadwick Boseman, dead on Halloween, and his 3 children. Again, don't sell your soul. The children's book, it's like, in a way it's dark, but it's like, this is actually the lesson children need in this world. They're being like baited into all these things, and they'll never see that they're wrong in their lifetime unless somebody turns the light on for them, or they got a really high functioning mind. It's just that you just realize people have been lured into all this bad stuff in just like a really deceptive way, and a lot of it seems harmless on the surface. Like, oh, it's just for fun. It's just it's like, well, it's not just a sports game. There's some sick stuff going on in the sports game. You don't want them to be emotionally invested in these sports leagues that are like here to, like, at the end of the day, remember with the sports league, like the NFL, yeah, one city at the end of the year is feeling really good. The other 31 cities, because there's 32 teams in the league, they're usually not feeling so good. For that one to benefit, 31 had to suffer. You know, that's kind of how this game is that this cabal's got set up. This Ponzi scheme of celebrity. It's like, yeah, you'll be a celebrity. We're gonna make you famous for the next 5 years, Mr. Ramses. You're gonna be rich. I guess he's not that famous, but you're gonna be rich. But man, 5 years, Halloween, stroke of midnight, game over. Was it worth it for 5 years? No. I mean, obviously, if he was here to say so, he would say no. This picture CNN chooses 2 of them, like, saying peace. It's like, man, come on. You couldn't have put a different image. It's like, in a way, it's like, well, I guess you could look at it in a nice way, but it's like, it is peace to his family. His 3 children, they're all out of here. Again, if Kobe's really dead, his daughter's really dead too at 13, right? He's dead at 41. She's dead at 13. Put it together, 54. Again, dead the Sunday before Super Bowl 54. Kobe Bean Bryant, full way, 54. Run it in reverse, 81. 81 career high in the 666 game. Mark of the Beast, 54, 81, like Kobe Bean Bryant. Okay, and then with regards to Evan Ellingson, again, 67 days after Cameron Diaz's birthday, this man's dead supposedly from an overdose at age 35. OD, right? Common terminology for an overdose. OD 35. Again, Satan has that Gematria 35 like Baphomet. In history, the Baphomet was supposedly being worshipped by the Knights Templar. The Baphomet represents Satan. That's why the Knights Templar were burned at the stake on Friday the 13th. Again, they serve the Catholic Church. Catholics 35. The territory the Catholic Church controls is the Holy See 35. The military order now of the Catholic Church is the Jesuits. Their actions are referred to as Jesuitism. Their logo has the Templar cross. Again, they came from Europe, which is another 35. Big number 35 that we talk about a lot. But it does have this connection with Satan. And again, you see ritual after ritual where it seems that they're paying tribute to this. You have Marilyn Manson out there putting out songs. When you say God, I say Satan, spelling it S-A-Y number 10. Satan 55 and 10 like God. Again, 55 the 10th triangular number and the 10th Fibonacci number. And again, this system of Gematria is essentially numerology, which is 55. The 10th Fibonacci number is 55 and Fibonacci's 55. But special numbers, we're just talking about where it fit in with the death of the stuntman, 257 days, the 55th prime from the release of the film anniversary 5 years later. By the way, Satan's 55 as well. And again, there's 5 degrees of the Church of Satan. That man's dead 5 years after the film came out in 257 days. But look at how they did this. This actor, he's known for being in CSI Miami. His name, Evan Ellingson, is 59. Also 67, like how he died 67 days after Cameron Diaz's birthday, who was his TV mom. But CSI Miami's 59 as well. Again, forwards, backwards. In reverse, the show 59, forwards 59. The day he died, which was Sunday, November 5th, that special Jesuit day, that was a date with 59 numerology. In the NFL, the game that had 59 points on that day was the game in Atlanta, Georgia, where Houston won in the latest 31 ritual. Or the game... I can't think now if the game was in Atlanta or Houston, but the Atlanta team in the game they played, there was 59 points, and Houston became 3-1 at home. Anyway, you pay attention to these numbers, you'll see how they're used ritualistically in all these different entertainment venues, from rigging a sports game to a celebrity sacrifice. And again, he's known for CSI Miami and the show where Cameron Diaz is his mom. His name, again, 67, dies 67 days after Cameron Diaz's birthday. Satanic is 67. Soul is 67. Don't sell your soul. Blood sacrifice is 67. Human sacrifice is 67. And the date he died, November 5th. Again, big day for the Jesuits, who are always talking about how they run the show. Killing also has that Gematria 115. You see how killing is 74, 115, 43? Look at bathtub. 74, 115, 43. If you haven't read my first book, I have the significance of Jim Morrison's death in the bathtub and then his girlfriend's death who found him in the bathtub and how she died and how all these numbers come together. Jim Morrison also died in France in the bathtub on the day that his father retired from the U.S. Navy, and his father has a lot to do with Vietnam and more killing. And by the way, the first day that troops were sent into Vietnam was March 8th in history. So the killing began on 3/8. The orders from the Pentagon, 38 on the 38th parallel. The word soldier, soul, die, are. Again, being on the Catholic Church's calendar, English being their language, all this being synced up by the Jesuits in the 16th century, a military order. Soul means sun, dying under the sun. Are the 18th letter. You got to be 18 to die on the battlefield. 18, the meaning of life in Jewish numerology. The Jesuits came in the 16th century, a merger between the Catholic Church and Judaism in response to Martin Luther. But yeah, I mean, OD in 35 is a pattern we've talked about many a times. It's not always age 35, but we've seen them encode this number in so many OD stories. So it's been a lot. But, yeah, it's this knowledge is just I can't believe. I hate to use that word believe. The word would lie right in the middle, but I still I can't even believe that in the information age, despite all the censorship and the destruction to the word spreading, I still can't believe it hasn't spread way further than it has. People are not asking the right questions. So again, a children's book asking questions, showing facts, trying to be a little bit persuasive, of course, because again, I feel that teaching this knowledge to people is right. It exposes the controllers, how they work, how sick it is. So it's getting it with the right illustrations to make the concept sink in. It's just like if a child reads a book and there's a picture of Kobe walking off the court with 4.1 on the clock behind him, and then all this information about 41, the two things really help it stick in the mind. The really good illustration that sticks with the number there, and then the further explanation. So yeah, just to bring it back where we were. November 30th, if you got here late, November 30th, for everyone who's an illustrator, November 30th, you got to have your illustration submitted to me. I haven't told you where to submit it yet, so listen to that. Work on the illustration, because anytime I do it, people just want to rush out an illustration, be like the first to submit. Every time I've tried to do a contest, there'll be somebody who sends me 100 emails because they'll keep improving it. Don't send it until you're sure that that's how you want it to be. If you want to do multiple illustrations because you got multiple ideas, that's fine, but don't send me the same illustration with 100 different versions and improvements. Send it in when you're really happy with it. And again, deadline November 30th. That day we'll read the Kobe children's book. We'll go over the pictures and we'll announce the winners, and then we'll get something physical out ASAP. And yeah, again, the one dilemma, the plan is to be in LA February 8th, the day they unveil the statue. And if that occurs, I do plan to drive over from there to Vegas, where the Super Bowl is 3 days later. But again, we want to be there when they unveil the statue and see if the timing is right. And again, we can create this spark. We were down there in LA. We planted a lot of seeds for the playoffs this last year, educating about Kobe's death, and got a lot of nice compliments. But maybe this time, if we have some printed material with us as well, create more of a buzz. Again, we got to create a buzz in the world about this knowledge. And Kobe is a good catalyst because people care more about mainstream stuff like that than actual world affairs. It's just like, I've been doing all this work on Israel. It's hardly gotten any views. Matthew Perry's death gets 5 times as many views as anything I've done on Israel. It's just like, I wish it wasn't that way, but we got to meet people where they are. Celebrity deaths is something that gets people thinking. And, a short children's book on the Israel dancing Israeli sick joke of October 7th, that could be in the works. Should be a bestseller in Israel so those people can see what's being done to them, and that it's not by Muslim terrorists as is being presented. Again, that's the controllers, that's the cabal. But yeah, anyway, illustrations, if you got here late, rewind the video, have them in by... The reason they're scary is because they unveil something that's dark or hidden in the dark that you didn't see before. And once you get over that, by having a light shined on this darkness, it becomes not so scary. And then also there's a benefit to seeing it because now you're not being essentially deceived by this thing that was in the shadows before. And I feel like that's how the world is, that we're all being deceived from these people who are essentially in the shadows. This cabal that works by this occult knowledge and seemingly mocks us every day. Again, the way I see it is The cabal are like the adults in the room, and we, the people, are like children because we haven't been educated past a child understanding of the occult. It wasn't anywhere in our upbringing. We weren't learning it in Sunday school. We weren't learning it in the slave classroom. Again, pledging to 13 stripes for 13 years, learning about 13 colonies. We didn't learn about this stuff anywhere. We didn't learn about secret societies, occult knowledge, practices of the past, things that were relevant to the founders. I mean, why don't they teach us in the 13 years about Freemasonry? It was so instrumental to the founders. Like, where's that in the education? Why isn't that there? If it's a key component of the structure of the people who helped establish the nation, why don't we learn about that? So, anyway, coming back to this, asking questions, planting seeds, nice illustrations for the illustrators. First drawing, dark street with some lamps, spots of light on the street, beneath one of the lamps, a basketball hoop. Or it could be different. It could be different ways. Darkness around a light shining down on a basketball hoop with a ball rolling away, a child following. Maybe the child's in a Kobe Bryant jersey. Child's following the ball into the darkness in the Kobe jersey. And if you look carefully at the darkness, you can see there's kind of like a shadowy figure standing in the darkness. First drawing of the book, because it's symbolic. Again, just about how people are being led into darkness without even realizing it. The kid thought he was just following the ball. Thought he was doing something so innocent. Not much different than going to a Lakers game. Wearing a Kobe Bryant jersey. When Kobe Bryant might have been this really nasty, sinister man who helped plot his death that he knew would rip the hearts out of millions of people, young and old. Did it anyway. And maybe it's because he was born into something that his dad signed on the line for. Joe Jellybean Bryant. Let's not forget, Kobe retired 41 years after his father was drafted by Golden State, which equals 41, or how Golden State was setting that record against Jordan, or eclipsing Jordan's win record the day of Kobe's last game. And you guys forgot that one. Kobe Bryant and Michael Jordan, both of their names equal 113 in the most simple cipher. Sumerian gematria is multiplying the alphabetic order times 6. So 113 for Kobe Bryant and Michael Jordan becomes 678 in Sumerian gematria. And from Kobe's last game back to Jordan's last game, which was in Philly, Kobe's hometown, was exactly 678 weeks. And that same day that Kobe played his last game against Utah, the Warriors, Steph Curry and Klay Thompson, who are also sons of former NBA players, Del Curry and Michael Thompson, they set the NBA three-point record for two players on a team. 678 three-pointers for the year. Just like how Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant are 678. The Warriors eclipsed Jordan's win record. Kobe's dad was drafted by the Warriors. Del Curry, in his 73rd game, played Michael Jordan one season, just like how Michael Jordan set the win record at 73 wins. And Steph Curry's born on the 73rd day of the year, Pi Day. And then Curry lost in the 73rd NBA championship to Toronto, where his father also played and where he met his wife. Anyway, all right, so first drawing, somehow light and darkness, basketball, doing something innocent, being led in the darkness. This is the idea for the first picture, with the little blurb about how the truth can be scary, but ultimately it's beneficial to keep you from falling into darkness. What is gematria? I don't know if that needs an illustration. Maybe it does. Why does it matter Kobe died at age 41? Again, Kobe walking off the court in his last game with 4.1 seconds on the clock, just like it was in his actual last game. Why does it matter the Lakers won the NBA Finals after his death? Again, that has a lot to do with LeBron and father-daughter day, maybe Kobe and Gianna. Why does it matter Kobe died 201 days from Magic Johnson's birthday? Again, Magic. Do we have a picture with Magic and Kobe? Why does it matter Kobe was buried in Corona del Mar? Why does it matter Kobe died on the 26th day of the year? Why does it matter he was in a legal battle over his Black Mamba branding? Again, at the beginning of this, I went into greater detail about what's going to be in these chapters, but I'm just asking, these are the chapter questions. They're all questions, each chapter title. And again, if any of them just something sparks in your mind, that you could create the illustration that needs to be in that chapter. And maybe I won't even cap how many winners we have. Maybe like 15 different drawings come in that feel like they need to be in the book from 15 different people. So they're all winners. And we'll figure out the appropriate prize. Okay, again, more chapters. Why does it matter he was in a legal battle over his Black Mamba branding? Why does it matter he died on the 37th anniversary of Bear Bryant's passing? Why does it matter Kobe died 38 weeks after his wife's birthday? Why does it matter Kobe died in the 74th NBA season? I think that one needs Kobe on the cross. I think it also needs Moses with the staff in Exodus. I think like somehow that needs to be, maybe it even has, because those will both be points in that chapter. 74's biblical connection, its sacrificial connection, its killing connection, how it brings Kobe and Moses together, Moses Malone. What are the parallels to Kobe's death and Daryl Dawkins and Moses Malone? Actually, maybe just Kobe on the cross like Jesus for the 74 chapter. Maybe the next chapter, a picture of Kobe, Daryl Dawkins, and Moses Malone. If you could look up that Moses Malone Nike ad from 1982 with the staff, maybe somehow incorporate that. Did Kobe know his premature passing on January 26, 2020? Maybe somebody's own version of the Comedy Central spoof, or a recreation of the poster of the Black Mamba with the exploding helicopter. And then the last chapter, don't sell your soul for any price, not even to be someone just like Kobe or Mike. And when I was a kid growing up, that was the advertising. I want to be like Mike. It was Mike Jordan. Michael Jordan, I want to be like Mike. Remember when Michael Jordan was crying his eyes out? I mean, just that's the part that really makes me think Kobe's dead. The way Michael Jordan was crying. He was bawling at the Kobe Memorial. And remember, the Kobe Memorial was on February 24th, the 55th day of the year, the big Satan number. And also, it's the day in history that, the other thing about February 24th is it's the day in history that the Gregorian calendar rolled out. It's also the day recently that the Russia-Ukraine war started officially. And the Pope was there in Russia the next day on the calendar synced up with the Pope. So yeah, again, in the illustrations, you're welcome to, I think it'd be best if everybody tagged it in the same spot, just a small tag in the bottom right corner. Whatever you want to tag there. You don't have to tag it if you don't want to, but just your signature, your artwork, where people can find your work, your social media page. Again, I think that would be great for anybody who wants it. Just free promotion. People who find the book, they find you. We need more people helping out with this movement who are getting more recognition, more support, so they can free up more time in their schedule to help get out the word and message. And again, what the truth community really needs is great artists. Art's something that people like, and it can really wake people up. So, yeah, people got to wake up. I mean, it is just gross. For one other thing that was in the news today, Capitol Police arrested an armed individual, and he was arrested near the Russell Senate Office Building, which has actually been renamed after the Kennedys, but in the article they still referred to it as the Russell Senate Office Building. And I wanted to look up who that building was named after, and his name was Richard Russell Jr. He was a member of Congress from Georgia. And of course, Georgia's Jimmy Carter State. If you missed the video from this weekend, why Netanyahu said what he said about hostages just minutes from the anniversary of the Iranian hostage crisis, which had a lot to do with Jimmy Carter, who has a lot to do with what's going on with Biden, who has a lot of parallels between the two men. Anyway, Richard Russell Jr. of Georgia died in 1971. And that was the year that Jimmy Carter became governor of Georgia. So I know there's something going on here, just the way they script all the news together. So we're still following the string and seeing exactly what they're going to do with this. Again, 1860, 1960 elections led to deaths of people in office. It's the 60th presidential election upcoming. Again, you got this Kennedy connection with this building. You got Jimmy Carter in Georgia, where he became governor 3 years after MLK from Atlanta was killed in the huge Jesuit ritual on the 95th day of 1968 when Martin Luther wrote the 95 Theses. And you know what else? I almost missed it, but there it is right in front of me right now. I see it. Today leaves 54 days left in the year. Jimmy Carter has that 54 Gematria and 72 in reverse, just like Jesuit order. So, you remember what happened 2017? I remember I was almost done with my first book, and then Roy Halladay died on this day. 2-time Cy Young winner. Baseball's 54 forwards and backwards. Major League Baseball's 117, dead on the 117 date, the day leaving 54 days left in the year. Roy Halladay off the coast of Holiday, Florida. Holladay's got that tragic 74, 38, 115, like killing. And think about it, you guys. I mean, that's usually when I'm the busiest with these videos. When the holidays roll around, it's just like death central. You know, Holiday, where the only thing that's different is killing is 43 and Holiday is 34. But remember, murder is also 34, another deadly number. It's wicked on the holidays. And just the shot CNN chooses here too, right? Just, you know, kind of the haunted back scene, the black and red lit room. Wicked. All right, True Seeker, that's what I got. Shout out to John Mendoza with another $1. John, you're very generous. Thank you again, friend. And appreciate that you value the efforts. So we'll leave it there for now. If you want to help out, again, with the illustrations, just work on them right now. You know, you don't need to rush it out as long as it's in by November 30th. We'll say like noon November 30th Pacific time. That's 3 Eastern time. So, okay, for everyone who wants to do the illustration, it's due by noon Pacific, November 30th. And again, that's 3 Eastern. We'll go over what was submitted. We'll pick out the best ones that have to be in there. And again, I'm trying not to write more than 26 pages. If we had 15 illustrations in there. And maybe I'll have to do 2 versions of the book, too. I might have to do like a printout version without illustrations, but then a printed version that has some nice illustrations that really, again, a visual can be worth so much. As they say, a picture's worth 1,000 words. If I'm skimping on the words, we're going to make up with it in pictures. So, if there ends up being 15 photos, 26 pages of words, it could be the perfect balance. Kobe 15, Bryant 26, and yeah, hopefully we got 15 really great illustrations. By the way, if somebody wants to work on a cover for the book as well, again, the book will need a cover, so may the best cover win. All right, we'll leave it there for now, True Seeker. Have a great rest of your day and evening. And hold on, before I go, you're saying, what is anything else going on? Here, let me see. Trump narrowly leads Biden in hypothetical rematch. Just to remind you guys of this one. Most simple cipher, Cleveland equals 78, right? Donald Trump is trying to do what no president has done since Grover Cleveland. And you see how Cleveland's also 165 in reverse? Donald Trump's birthday is the 165th day of the year. Cleveland's also 48. Notice how Donald Trump is 48. If Biden doesn't finish his term, Trump could become the 48th president. But coming back to Cleveland, 78. Donald Trump is trying to, again, do what nobody's done since Grover Cleveland. Grover Cleveland had a split term, meaning he was president, then somebody else was president, and then he became president again. And again, Trump was president, then Joe Biden became president. If Trump came back, that'd be the split term. So, Trump, the top card on the tarot deck is the Trump card. And in a tarot deck, there are 78 cards. Remember when Trump was running in 2015, the hit show was House of Cards about the presidency. And then Trump had his convention in 2016 in Cleveland. So he's going to be 78 years old, Donald Trump. He'll turn 78 June 14th, 2024. The election, of course, is, remember the 5th of November, 2024. So it's less than a year away now. But this is what we've been talking about for a while. Just how Trump could repeat history, Grover Cleveland, all the clues that are leading forward. Grover Cleveland had a mail-order bride from Europe, kind of like Trump. Number of similarities. They're both kind of fat, overweight men. And yeah, so this thing here about Trump narrowly leading. And remember, Donald Trump's also 60. Let's not forget this. Donald Trump's 60. The next election's the 60th U.S. presidential election. You can go back to July 14th, 2022. It was 60 weeks into the first ever Jesuit Ignatian year, which ran more than a normal calendar year. And Donald Trump's ex-wife died 60 weeks into the first ever Jesuit Ignatian year. Donald Trump hinted he was going to run for re-election that day prior to the news breaking about his wife being dead. And then also there was a case that came out against Trump, and it was based on 60 actual legal cases. So we've been talking about all this stuff for a long time. But yeah, Donald Trump, he's dealing with the 4 indictments right now, which is another 60 and 48. So this headline today comes, 363 days before the election, because it'll be November 5th, 2024. And remember, we keep seeing the pattern with 144 in the election as well. Elections, November 5th is 144 days after Trump's birthday. Today's story is actually on the day leaving 54 days left in the year. See how Jesuit order is also 72? So is President Trump. So is President Biden. Okay, so that's in the news. White House warns Israel over post-war plans for Gaza. Israel said that it's going to be a long thing that they got going with Gaza. They're talking about occupying. But we'll continue to follow it by the numbers. It's just been ritual after ritual. Trump's day in court hints at a national ordeal ahead. This was yesterday, the day leaving 55 days left in the year. Again, Satan equals 55. His day in court was yesterday, the day leaving 55 days. Satan 55. The highest degree of the Satanic Church is Mega, M-A-G-A, the 5th degree. I'm just saying. They said Donald Trump's ego was out of control in court. Again, that's the whole tenet of Satanism, to worship yourself, to pump your ego as full as possible. It's all about you. House advances the censure of the Islamic woman on the day leaving 54 days left in the year. That's a nice touch. Islam is 54. Remember, Osama bin Laden died on his 54th day of being 54 years old. Terrorism's 54. Terrorist is 52. He died on May 2nd. 54th day of being 54, had a 10/3 birthday, like 103, like Pan Am 103, the Islamic terrorism plane story before 9/11. And never forget that the World Trade Centers came down 185 days after his birthday. They were opened on the 94th day of 73. They came down in a massive 77 ritual. The country's 247 years old right now. Israel's having their 9/11. The Tower of Babel, the tower that divides the world, ends in Genesis 11:9. He was laid off by Elon Musk, Jesuit puppet. Within hours, he had a plan to outdo Twitter. Just with regards to Elon, remember, Tesla is 78 like Jesuit, and he was declared the world's richest man for the first time ever in history on the 78th anniversary of the death of Nikola Tesla. Okay. Yeah, that's what's buzzing right now. Zac Efron looks unrecognizable. Gotta stay focused on those celebrities. All right. With the market, it's just like we said at the beginning of the month. At the beginning of October, well, last month this is, the market would drop barely down 33,000, then it would shoot it back up to 33,000 the next day. Remember, October's the only month that equals 33. Dow Jones is 33. New York's also got that 33, but October's the only 33 month. And the last 2 days of October, the market skyrocketed 1,000 points from 32K to get back up to just above 33K before the end of the month, and it's gone up since there. But again, this knowledge, year after year, we're talking about the same things. I dropped that clue at the beginning of the month. I said, watch, I bet October finishes around 33K. Anytime it goes below 33, bet on it going back up. Again, this knowledge, you can take advantage of the rig sports, the rig market. At the beginning of the year, for people who are in the investment group, I stopped doing it because hardly anyone was showing up. But at the beginning of the year, I recommended Apple as a blue chip stock this year. I said it makes sense that Apple would have a strong year this year. Apple's been up more than 50% at parts of the year, but now it's up 50% for the year. Again, learn this knowledge, you guys. It's what's being used every day. From stuff like this, ritualistic death, to this, to just, it's the cabal code. I can't believe anybody would ever upload a video trying to say all this stuff's a coincidence day after day. I mean, you must, I didn't want to talk about these people. So, you got to be kidding me. Shout out to Queen Conscious as well. I appreciate that, Queen. Thank you. You didn't have to do that. That was nice of you. But yeah, all right, we'll leave it there. Thank you again, everyone who hits the like. Thank you to everyone who leaves a comment. Those things supposedly help out in this algorithm. I know they're trying to take away the comments and the likes, and YouTube does do that. But thank you for everyone who makes the effort. And if you're new here, feel free to subscribe. Put out content nearly every single day, sometimes several times a day. Right now, trying to make sure I got some deadlines hit. So, been a little bit less posting the last couple days, but definitely on the grind over here. All right. Have a good night. Until next time, True Seeker.